In this video, you're going to learn how changing your expectations going into games is going to help you manage frustration and manage mistakes during games. Hey there, I'm Eli Straw, mental performance coach and the founder of SuccessStarterThen.com. Now, this is the third video in the series on losing composure. In the previous two videos, we talked about why you lose composure in the first place, and then an in-the-moment strategy that you can use to manage your frustration during games. If you haven't watched those previous two videos, I've linked them in the description below. Now, in the previous video, we talked about using a thought-stopping phrase in the moment to calm yourself down. Now, once you have that created, you want to transition your focus onto a long-term way of managing your loss of composure. Now, if you've watched the first video, then you should know that one of the main reasons we went over for losing your composure in the first place is because of the expectations that you set were not met. A prime example of this is the expectation that you need to play perfectly. If that's your goal, the first sign that you weren't perfect, so meaning the first mistake you make, can send you spiraling out of control. So if we want to manage your loss of composure long-term, we need to work on reframing the expectations that you have for practices and games. In addition, there's a shift that needs to take place in your thinking relating to mistakes, which we're going to talk about in the next video. So to help with reframing your expectations, I want you to think about why they're there in the first place, right? Why do you set expectations for yourself? The most common answer that I get to this question is because the athlete wants to play their best. Is that the case for yourself? It's an absolutely natural and understandable reason for setting expectations. I mean, who doesn't want to compete at their highest level each and every time they go out there? But the question is, are expectations really needed to do so? When you set such high expectations for yourself, such as playing perfectly, this is not completely within your control. Now, this means the very thing that can lead to you losing composure is not fully within your power to make happen. But if you want to manage your loss of composure and you want to remain in control of yourself, then what you focus on and the goals you have for games better be 100% within your control. An exercise that you can do to help reframe these expectations is make a list of all the high expectations that you have, so the outcome-oriented expectations that are out of your control that lead to your loss of composure. This list can be as short or as long as you need it to be. But I really want you to be honest with yourself and get as specific as possible. What all do you expect of your performance or even your teammates' performance that causes you to lose your composure if that expectation is not met? Then what you want to do is go through each expectation and change it to a goal that is 100% within your control. Now, the greatest part of this exercise is that, the goals that you set for yourself, if they're more in your control and more part of the process, they will give you a better chance of actually getting the high expectation that used to be your goal for that game. And this is going to happen without the added element of losing your composure if the expectation isn't met. Now, I do want to mention that just because you change your expectations to controllable goals does not mean that your loss of composure is going to vanish instantly. It's definitely a process, which is why combining this long-term approach with your short-term strategy, so your thought-stopping phrase for managing composure in the moment, is going to be very important. But in addition to managing your emotions in the moment and also reframing your expectations, you also want to reframe the way that you look at mistakes in general. So go ahead and click right here to watch the fourth video in this series where I talk about a way that you can reframe mistakes to look at them in a more productive way that will actually increase your performance.